April 10th, 1912, the largest and most luxurious ship ever built leaves the harbour. They called it Unsinkable. But just 4 days later, it became the world's most tragic graveyard. Was it truly just an unfortunate accident? For over a century, we believed a simple iceberg destroyed the titan of the seas. But the truth is far darker. New evidence reveals that a hidden enemy was eating the ship from the inside days before it ever left port. And a shocking investigation suggests that the ship at the bottom of the Atlantic might not even be the Titanic. An insurance fraud of billions of dollars, a burning secret, and 6 deadly warnings completely ignored. Tonight, we unearth the real history, the hidden conspiracies, the engineering flaws, and the final minute-by-minute countdown. Welcome to Chronos Unearthed. Let's dive deep into the secret history of the Titanic. Our story begins deep inside the belly of the ship. Weeks before the maiden voyage, a massive fire started in coal bunker number 6. Temperatures reached over 1,000 degrees Celsius. Workers frantically shoveled burning coal for days, unable to stop the blaze. The intense heat was directly against one of the critical watertight steel bulkheads, severely weakening the ship's structural integrity. To avoid a public scandal and financial ruin, the owners ordered the ship to sail anyway. The damage was hidden behind fresh coats of paint. This hidden fire is also the reason why the Titanic was moving at dangerously high speeds through a known iceberg territory. By the time they reached the Atlantic, the bulkhead was brittle and weak. It was no longer a shield. It was a ticking time bomb. When the iceberg scraped the hull, it didn't just dent the steel. The weakened, fire-damaged iron plates simply shattered under the pressure. The iceberg was the trigger, but the secret fire was the true executioner. But why would anyone risk thousands of lives? The answer lies in a billion-dollar switch. Enter one of the most mind-bending conspiracy theories in history. Was the ship that sank actually the Titanic's twin sister, the Olympic? A year earlier, the HMS Olympic suffered a massive crash, leaving its parent company, White Star Line, facing bankruptcy and a massive legal bill. The Olympic was uninsurable. The solution? A secret insurance fraud. The theory suggests they swapped the names of the 2 identical ships. They sent the damaged Olympic out as the brand new Titanic, intending to deliberately sink it to collect the massive insurance payout. Supporters of the swap theory point to strange clues. The lifeboats on the Titanic were identical to the Olympic, and rumours spread that workers were sworn to secrecy. When the wreck was discovered years later, some investigators claimed the propeller numbers didn't match Titanic's official build records, but rather the Olympic's. The plan was simple: sink the damaged ship slowly in the Atlantic, rescue everyone with nearby ships, and claim the massive insurance money. Strangely, another ship owned by the same company, the SS Californian, was sitting completely stopped in the ice nearby, carrying only blankets and sweaters. But did the conspiracy go exactly as planned? Or did human arrogance and terrible engineering turn a fraud into a real nightmare? Modern scientists testing steel from the Titanic wreck discovered a fatal truth. The iron rivets used to hold the hull together were full of slag, making them highly brittle in freezing temperatures. Because the ship was rushed to completion, cheaper materials were used in the bow. When the cold water hit the iron, it became as fragile as glass. Furthermore, the ship's famous watertight compartments were flawed. They were not capped at the top, meaning water could spill from one chamber straight into the next. It was like an ice cube tray. Once the first 5 compartments filled with water, the weight pulled the bow down, forcing water to overflow into the 6th. But the physical flaws were only half the problem. A series of bizarre human errors on the night of April 14th locked the passengers' fate. As the Titanic steamed forward at maximum speed, wireless operators received a massive warning. Icebergs were directly ahead. Not one, but 6 separate warnings were sent by neighboring ships, but the operators were overwhelmed, sending personal messages for wealthy passengers. When the critical message from the ship Masaba arrived, warning of a massive wall of ice, it was never even delivered to Captain Smith's bridge. Worse still, the lookouts up in the crow's nest were forced to look for icebergs using only their bare eyes. The binoculars were locked away in a cabinet. The officer with the key had been transferred off the ship before it sailed, forgetting to hand it over. The lookouts were virtually flying blind. Because the ocean was perfectly calm, there were no waves crashing against the base of the icebergs to create white foam, making them impossible to see until it was too late. At exactly 11:40 p.m., a massive dark shadow emerged from the night. Lookout Frederick Fleet frantically rang the warning bell 3 times. First Officer Murdoch ordered the ship to turn hard to port and reversed the engines, but the Titanic was too large and moving too fast. For 37 seconds, the crew held their breath. Then came the collision, a silent, grinding scrape below the waterline that doomed the ship. The unsinkable ship was now filling with thousands of tons of freezing water. The final, horrifying 2 hours had just begun. As midnight passed, the reality set in. The ship was sinking bow first, and the luxury staterooms were rapidly filling with freezing, dark Atlantic water. A terrifying mistake now unfolded. Out of sheer panic and lack of training, the first lifeboats were launched half empty. One boat with a capacity for 65 people left with only 28. The crew feared the davits would buckle under the weight of a full boat, unaware that the engineering had been heavily tested. Hundreds of seats were wasted. Less than 20 miles away, the crew of the SS Californian watched distress rockets explode in the night sky, but their captain shrugged it off as company signals. The Californian's sole wireless operator had turned off his radio and gone to bed just minutes before the Titanic struck the iceberg. The closest rescue was deaf to their screams. At 2:18 a.m., the ship's lights failed completely. The immense structural strain of lifting thousands of tons of steel into the air reached its breaking point. The unsinkable Titan literally snapped in 2. The heavy bow broke off and plunged straight into the abyss, while the stern slammed back down onto the water. For a brief moment, the stern floated alone. Then, filling with water, it stood perfectly vertical before spinning slowly and diving into the dark depths. The bow section plunged through the ocean at 30 miles per hour, slamming into the seabed with such force that it buried itself deep into the mud. A massive debris field spanning thousands of yards was created, scattering the personal belongings of the rich and the poor across the ocean floor. By dawn, the ocean was dead silent. Out of more than 2,200 people on board, only 705 survived in the freezing cold. For 73 years, the final resting place of the Titanic remained a complete mystery, lost in the vast, unforgiving desert of the North Atlantic. Then, in 1985, a joint French-American expedition led by Robert Ballard finally located the tragic wreck, opening a new chapter of secrets. When researchers examined the ship's parts, they looked for the definitive proof to debunk the Olympic swap conspiracy once and for all. Deep on the ocean floor, the propeller of the wreck was found stamped with the number 401, the unique hull number given only to the Titanic during construction. The swap theory was officially busted. The ship at the bottom of the sea is undeniably the Titanic, but the cover-up of the coal bunker fire remained a fact. The tragedy changed maritime laws forever, ensuring enough lifeboats for every soul and 24-hour radio monitoring on every ocean vessel. The Titanic was defeated by a combination of fire, ice, and human arrogance, a timeless reminder that nothing is truly unsinkable. See you in the next deep dive.
Hold it there. Bring her about slowly. Aye, steady as she goes.
The bulkheads were open at the top, allowing water to spill over.
I understand the urgency, but we have a significant backlog. I'll see what I can do.
Lower the boat, quickly now! Watch the fall!
There are still empty seats.
We are following orders, get her down!